In this introduction exercise, I will show you how in SketchUp we can very quickly build this console table. We will learn about some of the basic modeling tools, for example, pen, rectangle, the push and pull, offset, move and rotate. We will cover concepts like what's a group, what is a component, what's the difference. We will also take a look at the entity info and the tags, aka kind of like layers or associations. This video is pretty packed with a lot of information, but this then also gives you a very good brief introduction into some of the fundamental rules and do's and don'ts of SketchUp. With all that said, let's get started. To start, what we will do is make sure that our scene is set to the correct unit system. So we go to Window, Model Info, Units, and Architectural. We switch to Decimal. Decimal is very easy to use when we model actually with objects. Very good. We can remove her. Then Shift middle mouse button and middle mouse button is rotate and pan. I actually would like to go to the parallel projection, and that switches the view from perspective to an orthographic view. It makes everything a little bit easier to navigate. Very good. So here's my Z, Y, and X. So Y and X is the ground, Z is up. And for the console table, I would like to create the wooden center part. To do this, here is the rectangular drawing tool. And it's a symmetrical object. So from the beginning, I would like to create my object so it's nicely centered. So I can click here to the origin, left mouse button click, move my mouse and don't click. And then you see how actually on the ground I'm creating this rectangle. Now, at this point, I would like to show you something. So when we look from the top, technically speaking, we see the floor. So the software understands that we want to draw on the floor. With the middle mouse button, when I start rotating my view, so I'm now actually more at the ground, you see now that I'm actually drawing vertical. So along the Z and Y axis or along the Z and X axis. So if you want to draw it along a particular axis, the view is important. Or we can also actually press the arrow keys. So left and up and right, they actually help me with specifying the view. So I would like to draw along the ground. And now this rectangle should be 17.75 by 12 inches. The lower right corner, you can see that there is a dimension readout. To start understanding the orientation at the beginning, what helps is making a very stretched rectangle. Now we can see, so the 5 inches is actually along the x-axis and the 43 inches is along the y-axis. I would like it to be more this, so I would have now to draw this this orientation to model or draw this really to 17.75 by 12 inches. It's very easy. We simply type in 17.75 comma 12, and because we're in inches, the software understands these numbers represent inches, and now we press enter. And that's it. Let's go to here, middle mouse button, scroll wheel zoom in, click, go to here, and then we can type in 17.75 comma 12 and enter. There we are. Pretty good. Easy. Now, let's take a look at the rectangle we drew so you understand what's happening. It's actually we're talking a little bit about the geometry of how SketchUp creates sketches and 3D models. This is a fill, And then this is an outer edge. You see this outer edge is actually bold. And then here is an inner edge that's thinner. The outer edge we can also consider a contour. And you see here we have two fields divided by this inner edge. And then here, this outer edge, we have two on each side simply because of this line. We can select this line and then press delete, or we can also use the eraser. And now when we click into this field, you see it's actually one big. SketchUp automatically fused this together. This is very important to know. And when I click on these outer two edges, you see it is now one edge. Okay. Left mouse button, drag, press delete. Let's draw this one more time. This time we will use actually the line tool. We go to the center. Then along the x-axis, I draw, type in 17.75, enter. Then I move my mouse so the line becomes green, 12, enter. I move my mouse till it becomes red. This is actually 35.5, enter. Now you see how there's actually a little bit of a snapping, or I can also green and type in 12. And then I go back to the center and click. Go select. And there you see, here we have two lines, one line. So what we can do to clean this up, we can delete this, go to there and go to there. Very nice. So we cleaned up this geometry a little bit. Since I showed you how to create something by drawing the lines, let's go back and zoom out a little bit. Mouse wheel, shift, middle mouse button, and go to here. And then I go to red, go to along the green, along red. And now I move my mouse. You see now how this is actually blue and green. So you see it snapped actually right over the axis. So this way I can very easily create actually drawings that are three-dimensional. So when I just start drawing something like this, they can go into all directions. So I have no control over it, which is why I really paid a lot of attention to when I draw this, that I see the colors being correct. So green, red, or blue for X, Y, and Z. Triple click delete. Okay. So now we have a nice rectangle. This we can turn into a wooden part. We can select the inside, go to this push and pull. This is an extrude command. Click and then move the mouse. And this should actually be 4 inches. So 4 and enter. Pretty nice. Now, this is a very big block. And this area which I selected, I would like to core out a little bit. To cut something in, I would need to create a new rectangle here. And then select this and cut down. But by hand drawing this rectangle, I don't really have perfect control over the distance. So I want this distance and this all be exactly 0.75 inches. So to do this correctly, all we can do is Control or Apple Z, so we undo. Then we go to Offset. You see here how it highlights actually the face. Click, move your mouse down, click yet, the mouse button, and then period 75, enter. And now we created a rectangle that's an offset of that outer edge. Then we can go to push and pull, go to here. No, we would like the bottom part to be 0.75 inches thick. The whole object is 4 inches. So we can extrude down by minus 3.25 inches and enter. Oh, that actually went now the opposite way. Very good. I mean, not good. That's not what we wanted. Okay, there I needed to redo this. Sometimes fixing this is possible. You see how I changed the dimension, or let's undo this. I moved this down and type in 3.25, enter. It understood actually the direction. So what was confusing here? Let's go back one more time. When I go down, you see that it read this out as negative because I go down. The z-axis you can also see has a solid blue and a dashed blue. So the solid blue is positive z, the dashed is negative z. So by going down, that's the reason why it showed this as negative 2. But when I now type in negative 3, interestingly, it reversed it, which didn't really make any sense. So undo, go down. And all we do is just type in the positive number. It goes in the correct direction. Very good. Now, the next step is very, very important. This is actually one part of our furniture piece. And I do not want this to be fused with any other object. So, what does fuse actually mean? Check this out. So, I'm creating something here, extruding this up. Very good. Just watch this. You don't have to do this. And then I triple click, move this to here. Very good. So I made 2 objects now, and I moved them together. But triple click. You see now this is one. What happened? If I select this face and delete, there you can see that actually it got fused together. So to prevent this type of objects by accident fusing together, this will be super important later when we model architectural spaces because you do not want the door, the window to be fused with the walls. We have to separate our objects. And the easiest way is triple click, right click, and make group. Now, this is actually just a group. And this group we can now actually move up by 32 inches. So we can go to move, and here, actually not, the top part should be at 32, but we measure from the ground. So actually we go here to this bottom part, move this up. You also see how I'm moving this left and right. And then here is actually, this is blue. Or to make this easier, press the up arrow key. Now I can only move this up along the z-axis by 28 inches. Very nice. So to verify, is this now the correct height? From this point, I draw a line down. Till there, you see how I snapped actually the center and went over to there. Very good. Let's do a measurement. Yep, 32 inches. Very good. So this line now we can delete. Cool. Okay. Now on the left and the right side, I would like to have a frame out of square steel tubing. To do this is actually pretty easy. The drawing these lines with the pen is actually quite easy, but the rectangle is a little bit easier because it's always a plane. with the line, you can by accident draw into different directions. So here I will simply do this with the rectangle tool. So I go to any of these points, click, move my mouse to here. You see now it snapped actually to this point, and now I can move it down. And you see how I have a red outline, and there it snapped to the center point. Click. And when I rotate around, there I can really see that this point is on the x-axis. Okay, double click delete. Let's do this one more time. This time I will start this actually from this point. So I have now a problem finding the correct orientation. So I will see left mouse button, sorry, arrow key, nope, right, yes, the right arrow key is correct. Now I can go down, snap, it found it. I can go further down. This is the height point. It doesn't find it there right now. Okay, escape. One more time. So it can be a little bit finicky sometimes. Good. I mean, not good. You see, it's a little bit frustrating. Okay, very good. I love it when this happens. So it's also good. I actually on purpose leave these elements when I stumble in the videos, so you can see that that stuff happens with me too. And it's always good to know when something like this happens, how can we ideally better work around? So we know from here to here and then down, that actually worked really well because we can snap on the right axis. Take a look at this protector here, sorry, the tape measurement. What's really nice is I can click and drag actually a line down along the z-axis. And you see how I move my mouse to there, and then it snaps to the midpoint. And that actually finds, and not the midpoint, the center point. It finds then the point on the ground. Release the left mouse button. There I put a line down. Let's do this one more time. Click and drag, press the up arrow key, go to there, there it selects it. Cool. Okay. Now, you can go to the rectangle, and then from here, go to there, move the mouse down till it snaps actually on that guideline. Pretty good. Now this guideline we can delete. There. Perfect. Okay. Snapping in SketchUp works actually really good, but like you saw, not always. And then it's good to know when there are ways how we can fix this. We would like to have a thickness of 0.75 inches for the steel tubing. So offset, go here to the face, click, move the mouse, but don't click, and then period 75 and enter. This filling we can delete. That's good. And then we can select this, zoom in a little bit, select this, and move this out 0.75. Very good. Now, initially this looked really nice, but now this face and this face is too high. How can I change this? Let me show you two ways. Well, this is a nice rectangular piece. I would like this to go 1 inch down or maybe two. So with this push and uh, push and pull tool, I can click, go down 2 inches, enter. Then I go to here, click, move my mouse 2 inches, enter. Very good. Let's undo this. That was just one way. I can also select a face and simply move this face. Pretty much does the same. Just make sure you do not distort your mesh. And to move this only along X, Y, and Z, we can also make use of our arrow keys there. And that's actually the reason why the push and pull command is very good when we have to extrude something or move actually faces, because it cannot distort something. Very nice. So this is a good object. We will um, put this into a group too. Group. Very nice. Very good. Now, copy and paste. We would like to make a copy and bring it over. So Control Z, Control V, or Apple or Command C and V is what normally would do in all programs. In SketchUp, we can actually do this with the move command. Super easy. So check this out. We go to move. I go to this corner point because this I would like to go to there. So click. And now the trick is press the Option key. And you see now when we press it and press it again, there's a plus popping up. And the plus basically means I can now create a copy. So from here, make me a copy, and I move slowly along the x-axis, or I simply press the left or right arrow key. Yep. And then click. There we are. Easy. Now along here, and at the bottom, I would like to have a small connection bar. So to do that, it's also very easy. Rectangular tool. Here I zoom in, click, click. This is 0.75, super easy. Push and pull this one out till it snaps to there. Nice. Yeah. And then double click, or actually triple click, or as many clicks till everything is nicely um, highlighted. And then right click, make group. Very good. Now we can go to the move command. Same thing. This upper edge goes to there. So I press the Alt Option key one time, click, move this up, and then press the Alt Option key one more time, click, and go to there. Very good. Very nice. So let's say at one point we would like to adjust the left and right metal frame, make this a little bit higher. So let's go to the push and pull command, and you see the tool gives us a warning sign. There's nothing to push and pull. Everything is fine, but we are actually working with groups now, not with the mesh. And SketchUp cannot extrude actually from a group. So what we have to do, since the group is a container, we have to go into the container. And that's very easy. Double click. You see now there is this dashed bounding box. I can see the geometry I'm focusing on. The rest is all grayed out. And now I can go to here, there, bring this up 0.5 and this 0.5 inches. Very good. Yeah. No, the other one doesn't um, match. So I would have to do the same, or I can delete this and then make a copy and bring this over. But I don't know if necessarily if I want to work this way, because when I explore something, that's not really super ideal. So what I can do instead, I can, instead of making a group, I can make a component. By the way, explode that is kind of like ungrouping. So now you see there we have the initial geometry we made. And now I can make a component. I can, by the way, when I made the group, also make a component from that. We can call this steel side. So this component, I will move. So move copy along there. Very good. So, and this is actually now the really nice thing. So where's the difference between group and component? You saw what the groups do. They isolate geometry, but a component isolates geometry too, but they allow me to work on all the components at the same time. You see, the other one is updating. So now I can go ahead and say, actually, I like the way how it was before. There we are. Very good. At this point now, it is advisable to also save our work. We can go to File, Save As, and we can call this console table concept because this is just only a concept study. Select a space where you would like this to be saved and click Save. With the concept model done, it's actually now time to create a refined design of this console table. And that is actually also a very good general design method. Instead of jumping in, fleshing out the fine details, we use our design process first to explore rather the basic shapes and proportions. And then when that is figured out, then we can put in the details. Details will take more time. So we want to work efficiently and effectively and not later put in a lot of time into a detail and then we have to rework it. So before we continue, I would actually like to restructure my scene. For that, we will go to Window and Tags. Tags is something like layers, like in Illustrator or Photoshop. But because SketchUp is a 3D program, layers don't really make sense. Tags make more sense. And think about tags like associations or groups or clubs. So we go to tags, and there we see just one tag called untagged. There's a visibility, we can't turn this off. And here's an edit function. And this is pretty much the same like the layer 0 in AutoCAD. Up here we have two icons also for adding a new tag. So click plus, and now we can call this concept model. Very good. So this group now I would like to associate to the concept model. And how do we do this? Right click. We don't really see anything here, but there's actually an entity info, or we go window entity info. And now here we see all the information about these individual objects or groups. See here, this is a component called steel side. This is just a group. And tag, it's an untagged. Click here, go to concept. You don't really see anything changed, but if we hide concept, then you see the rest is gone. Sorry, the object is gone. The rest is still there. So left mouse button, click, drag over it. We can do this also with multiples. Cool. Okay, so here is the next piece of really important advice. And this is a rule that is brutally important. If you overlook this, it can be really painful later having to fix this. You saw that I moved the groups to a tag, but I did not move the geometry to a tag. That sounds a little bit confusing, but this is the way how SketchUp works. So when I click on this object, it tells me this is inside the concept model tag. If I double click and click this face, you see it says actually untagged. This edge isn't untagged. So all the geometry was created while being here inside untagged. You see, that's also why the edit button. So the pen should always just be on untagged and never anywhere else. So what happens when I make a new group? Let's say I call this refined model. Very good. And I will start editing concept model. Very nice. I will just here create something like this. There. Good. Triple click, right click, make group. And then this group I will create, I will assign to refined model. And when I turn this off, very good. Yeah, it works. But now check this out. Yeah, okay, so the edit button has to be there. If I turn this off now, everything's gone. Hey, but why is this gone when the object is here? So that's the thing. It's not the object that is inside the refined tag. It's just the group. So when I go double click, you see this is in concept model. To fix something like this, we can select all the geometry and then say, hey, you should go to untagged. Now I can show and hide the object as they should be. Okay. This is a little bit confusing, particularly for beginners. It's just the way how SketchUp actually works. So again, rule of thumb, we only move objects or components to tags, and the edit pen is only on the first tag, never anywhere else. Then basically you run a safe way and you will never have any, at one point, any issues. Okay, so let's actually populate our refined model tag. So maybe I select simply everything, Control or Apple C and V. That makes a whole copy. I would like this to be at the same position. So I snap this to where it should go to. Okay. And then with everything still selected, move this over to refined model. And I have now made a copy to there. Cool. Let's go back to the select tool. These will remain, they're good, but these are not really the way how I want them. So they're actually, however, really nice. So this I will hide first so I can see left and right. Zoom in a little bit, pen, click, 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 and then I go back to there. And this I can go and hide. You see now I created a nice new drawing and I drew right on that face. So you don't only can draw and snap actually on a plane, we can also draw on existing objects. Click 0.75. Very good. Triple click, right click, make component. And then we call this component side short, for example. And we would like this to be in the refined model. Very good. Okay. Now, I would like to see the other objects again. There we are. Let's do this one more time. So this point, zoom in, there, and there. Very good. Click and go to there. And I know exactly where everything is. This part actually cannot be deleted. Oh, why are they actually two? Hold on. This was actually interesting. Maybe I made two copies. I must have made two copies there. Okay, good. So there is the other part. It's still, as you can see, just a mesh. Triple click, right click, make component, side long. Give these objects logical names. There we are. Now, we would like to make a copy of this and then rotate it. So I select these two, go to the rotate command. You also see here how the widget rotates. You see green, red, blue. These are the icons for it. So this should be along the red axis like this. Can press the option key because I want to make a copy, and then left mouse button click. You see now I have a line, so I can select my first reference point, click, and then rotate it till it snaps to 180 degrees and click. Cool. So obviously that's not positioned correctly. Let's go to the move command, and this corner point, I would like to go to there. And welcome to snapping, sometimes not working. I found that um, sometimes moving around is not helping. But what actually did the trick for me is when I press the um, Alt or Option key, you see I make a copy. I don't necessarily want to make a copy. If I press this button again, then I'm just moving it, but I keep my snap targets. So very simple trick. So let me repeat this. When you make a when you try to rotate it and it doesn't snap, press the Alt key or Option and then press it again. Then you have the snap target, click, and there we are. Cool. So this is a design that's made out of two components, a short and a long, and a copy of each. This actually I can put into another component. Call this maybe steel side. And no, let's call this steel side assembly. We had actually this component, so this makes sense that it gave us this warning. Actually, this is also a better name because with assembly, it tells us that this is a group of parts put together. Create, very good. So this one we don't need, we can remove it. Select this one, go to the move command, Alt key or Option, click along the x-axis, move the mouse carefully, and click. Very good. Now we see where are my objects. So you and you, they should be on refined. Very good. So now it's time actually to work on this one. This is actually also quite interesting. Pretty much the same way how we refined the steel side, we can rebuild this too. Very easy. So we will go to the pen, click, 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 and go to there. Very good. I know that I drew a face there, so with the push and pull command, I can click and drag and go down and click. Very good. Go to here, right click and hide. Triple click, right click, component, and then wood side short, for example. Makes sense. Okay. Unhide all. Now we do the same with the other one. Click, 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 and there. There it is. I find my snapping height there. Triple click. I see just the mesh got selected, not really the other group I created first. Make component, and then we call this wood side long. Oh, and also we want to put this in there. Very good. The last piece maybe to do here. So I can find this corner point, middle mouse button and rotate, go to there. Now I have actually a nice plane. This I will delete now. And this plane I would like to bring down 0.75. Very good. This can actually be a little bit smaller. So click 0.25. So that we have a board that is half an inch thick with a quarter-inch offset. Okay, very good. So I will show you something. So these two objects here, I will select, right click and say hide. And this needs to be expanded a little bit. So I go to the push and pull, click, move this a little bit so I can tell the software the direction, period 25, enter. Click, move, period 25, enter. It's very repetitive. That's the nice thing about SketchUp. There is actually a lot to learn at the beginning, but then very quickly you figure out that that's kind of it, and then it's just repetition. So we made a new element that is wider, and it's if we take a look at our other objects, you see it penetrates it. That's good. So now we can make a component, and we call this wood bottom board. Okay, very nice. Cool. Also here, this goes to refined model. Yeah. Okay. So this board is correct, just not this one. We need actually the space of the board be cut out of from this part. And we don't do this by hand. We actually calculate it. And we have for this the solid tools. So have nothing selected. This is the process to use. We go to solid tools, trim, and down here it says select the first solid. That's this one. And then select the second solid. That's this one. Very good. Now I will hide this one. And there you see, it removed the volume of that board from there for us. Pretty cool. Undo. Then again, trim. So this board we remove from this. And that's it. Cool. Now we can select these two. Go to rotate. There's unfortunately no center button. That would be so great. But this is actually a symmetrical object. Yeah. So we just have to do it this way. I go to one edge here. Very good. Press the Alt Option key. First mouse button click. Second mouse button click. Now this is misaligned. Not a big deal. And then we go to move and move this into position. Very nice. So the last thing now we very quickly would like to do is, so we have a board that we moved up into the sides. That's in terms of wood joinery, for example, the proper way how to build it. But this might hang down a little bit. Now I would like to position an object right there into the center. So we need to have another piece. So let's do this. We go to here and yeah, so from the midpoint here, I would like a rectangle. And you see on these edges, it can find actually the midpoint. That's pretty cool. So that means if I select my rectangle tool, that's fine. Click, go up, go to there. So this is then so 0.75. That is actually 3.25. So for those who are not super in math, we can just do it this way. Click and go over, and then 0.75 divided by 2. Hey, does that actually work? Wow, it does. Look at that. Huh? Pretty cool. And go up. Super. And 0.75 divided by 2. And go down. And actually, I shouldn't have said that before. 0.75. Why? When didn't it do it actually? 0.75 to. Yeah, shoot. Actually, I thought that worked. Great. Okay, so in some programs, actually, you can type this in, and I thought in my memory that you could do this way. So didn't really work out. Now we can do very quickly what we should have done from the beginning. This is awesome. I completely embarrassed myself. Okay, but it's actually difficult to do math when you have to record and speak in a foreign language. So 3.75 is the correct thing. But always try to see something good and something bad. Let me show you something. So I create a rectangle 0.75 each direction. There it is. And now I go to the move command. There's the midpoint, and there's the midpoint. So I just simply move it to where it needs to be. And then I can snap right to this edge. There we are. Very good. Triple click, right click, make component. And we call this steel crossbar. And this goes into refined. Okay. And if we want, we can make a small extra piece. So we will do it this way. Copy the bottom and up. Very good. I actually clicked on this bottom board and hide. And now this extra copy I will make unique. So what does unique mean? It actually makes it a component, but it's not linked to the original component. You see the name is different. So now we can call this wood board support. This will be a small strip. So I go to double click, go into the component, push and pull, and snap down to here. Click outside. There we are. Cool. Okay, so let's show everything. Yeah, pretty cool, no? There you see how, oh, we want those to go to the correct model folder there. So there was our original quick concept model. That was very fast to make. And if, for example, we would like this to be built by somebody, they need a little bit more of information. And then we just created them a more refined version. Pretty nice. And then this we could call save as. We give this like console table detailed, refined, manufacturing, however. We will call this detailed. Just in general, give objects logical names. That's it.